Sometime later I awoke. I didn't know how long I had been asleep. Kaluna remained sleeping with her head against my shoulder. Over the time we spent in the escape pod, I had grown quite comfortable with her proximity. She was the first female I'd ever been physically close with. I'd have remained there enjoying the contact a while longer, if I didn't need to visit the washroom. I gently eased her off me so I could get up and use the washroom. She was still sleeping when I returned. The very comfortable proximity with Kaluna tempted me to return to my sleep, but I was getting hungry. After eating rations in the escape pod, the small galley promised decent food. Of course, you have to be careful that any food you consume isn't toxic to you. I waved my arm with my embedded ID chip over the display on the food dispenser, and it came to life. It asked me to select a language, and in the choices offered, there included both Tian and Ori. I noticed the list included language that looked like the one from Earth that my mother had tried and failed to teach me. I selected Tian. I almost picked Ori, but Tian was familiar, and I was hungry. It then offered me various familiar and more palatable Tian foods from back home. I picked something I often ate in the mornings, together with a beverage. Soon I sat at a table with a reasonable likeness of the food and drink I chose. For a brief while, I reminisced about my time back on Tian Prime. Mother cooked little beyond my early years, and so I grew up with Tian cuisine. In the back of my head, I was already thinking about our new hosts, examining my surroundings. I noticed the size of the furniture fit our needs. It suggested whoever was on this vessel was about our size. Similar-sized race, compatible food and atmosphere. They knew Tian and Ori languages. The food dispenser was compatible with my embedded ID chip. It must be a spacefaring race that had contact with Tian and the Ori Confederation. Our situation was getting better the more I thought about it. Then Kaluna finally awoke, and she followed the same path I had upon waking. She got various Ori food and drink and pulled up a chair beside me. We sat together at the table eating quietly, proximity restored, and wondering about what was going to happen next. I shared with Kaluna my thoughts about our new hosts. After enjoying a significant amount of breakfast together, we remained at the table. With no windows and little else to occupy me, I began getting frustrated. Kaluna was too. Finally, Kaluna said out loud, "Hello? Can anyone hear us?" The voice from before replied in Ori, "I've informed the captain that you're awake, and she will join you soon." Well, at least they heard us. Perhaps they'd also been watching us. Kaluna and I sat in what we hoped was a non-threatening pose at the table and waited. Soon a door opened, and in walked what appeared to be a human female. She looks young for a captain. She wore a coverall uniform with no distinguishable rank insignia. Without delay, she greeted us both in Ori and took a seat facing us. "Welcome aboard. My name is Jem. I am captain of this Baglogi ship. We were in the area when we picked up your distress signal," said Jem. "We're extremely glad you found us. We thought we were done for." "My name is Kaluna, and this is Brian," said Kaluna. Then I noticed her eyes. There was something familiar, and then I remembered something about a dream, cycles ago, back during my childhood. I was so drawn to her eyes I didn't realize I was staring and I hadn't been listening. Kaluna gave me a nudge that brought me back to the present. I discovered that she also appeared distracted. "I'm sorry, you seem familiar to me," I said. "Have you been to Tian Prime before?" "No, I haven't. And you're from there? But you're obviously not Tian, though. Our scanners reported you might be Baglogi," said Jem. "Short version, I'm human. It's a species from a planet called Earth, although I've never been there. Tians abducted my mother and brought her to Tian Prime. I was born there, and so Tian Prime is my planet of birth," I said. "Interesting. It appears that human and Baglogi's species are quite similar." She considered the matter for a moment. Then she resumed, "I am glad to meet you both. Come with me, and I'll give you a tour of ship." We followed Jem throughout the Baglogi vessel, talking as we walked. We eventually arrived at the main bridge. It had the usual consoles with blinking lights and a large tactical display. There was a seating area where we sat down together. "So how do you like ship?" asked Jem. "Impressive. The technology is ahead of Tian, and I think also ahead of Ori," I said. There was something that kept me feeling drawn to her eyes. Why do you refer to it as ship and not the ship? Asked Kaluna. Jem looked upwards and said, Ship, I think it's time you introduce yourself. Confirmed. I'm pleased to meet you, Kaluna of the Ori Confederation and Brian of Tien. Ship is my name. I'm a Baglogi star cruiser and also the AI. I've been home to Jem and before her, her parents and their parents for generations. Glad to make your acquaintance, Ship, I said. Is that how I should address you? Just Ship will do, said Ship. How long have you been alone? Asked Kaluna. A long time, ever since my parents died. After that, Ship has been my protector and companion. You're the first beings I've seen since my parents died. Ship was cautious about exposing me to any risk, but when we picked up your escape pod, I somehow knew you were safe and that we had to rescue you, said Jem. I followed instructions from your parents. The priority in my protocols has been survival of the Baglogi species, and you in particular. Last recorded contact with another Baglogi vessel was long ago. It's possible that Jem may be the last of her species, said Ship. Can I ask what was the priority before then? I asked. My ancestors, for as long as recorded history, were peacekeepers, she said. Once there were many Baglogi ships traveling the galaxy, we've not contacted another Baglogi vessel in ages. I don't know what has happened to the others. Ship may be the last Baglogi vessel out there. Anyway, I'm unsure what to do. Ship has been hiding out in deep space, the middle of nowhere. And then you two came along. Jem gave me a funny look. So tell me your story. How did you end up out here? I looked at Kaluna, who nodded, so I started. We were a crew on the Opalu Na, an Orifrey, Tetris. We got attacked by pirates, and in the confusion, we escaped just as our ship got destroyed. Our escape pod was drifting along for many days before you found us. I'm really glad you did. If you hadn't come along soon, that escape pod would have become our tomb. Kaluna jumped in. I'd be dead if not for Brian. He found me during the attack and pulled me into an escape pod. She looked at me with a big smile. I'm glad that fate has sent you to me. I could use the company, said Jem. You know, dealing with pirates falls within the mandate of the Baglogi peacekeeping mission. If you would consider joining forces with us, we'd have more suitable numbers. We could go investigate those pirates. We owe you our lives. If you will accept my help, you got it, I said. Since our last experience with the pirates didn't end well, I would encourage caution. A lot of our former crew died from that attack. I lost good friends aboard the Opalu Na. If we can stop the pirates from doing it to others, I'm for it, said Kaluna. Ship, I believe I am ready, said Jem. Lights on a display blinked. Acknowledged, changing from survival to peacekeeping mode. Brian could almost sense a cheerful tone in its voice. One more thing, to confirm we're all on the same page. I'd like to swear you both in as crew, at least for the duration of this mission. It upgrades your status from guests, with additional rights and responsibilities, of course. You can choose to resign as crew after we've dealt with the pirates. If you're willing to accept my leadership as captain and commit to the mission, please say so for the record. We both agreed and swore our oaths. Ship, please log the time and upgrade the status of Kaluna of the Ori Confederation and Brian of Tien to that of crew members. Assign crew quarters and whatever else is due them. Acknowledged, welcome to the crew Kaluna of the Ori Confederation and Brian of Tien. You will find your crew quarters on level 6. Your names are on the doors of your respective quarters, said Ship. Jem stood, a smile on her face. I believe this is a first that a Baglogi vessel had a mixed crew. I sense this is the start of something new, she said. I was unsure how to proceed until you came along. So our meeting is auspicious for all of us. Ship suggested it was time to get some rest. Tomorrow there would be much to do. We all agreed and left to find our new quarters.